Hello everyone, how you going? Welcome back to some more Heritage Minutes, where this time we're just chilling in the Saskatchewan-Montana border in 1877, but either way we're starting out with Sitting Bull.
Commissioner McLeod, where are the rest of your men?
You've got more men back there than I have in the whole of Western Canada.
Yeah, but Sitting Bull held a war dance last night.
General Terry, in Canada, Sitting Bull has kept the Queen's peace. He's agreed to meet with you.
And spotted eagle. That face doesn't look ready to come back to the States without a fight.
President Hayes says you will be received kindly and...
The grandmother's medicine house is no place for lies. Not two more words. This country does not belong to you. We will stay here and keep the grandmother's peace. She will let us raise our children. We do not want lies. These men, Walsh, McLeod, they're the first white men who never lied to us.
I didn't know then that they'd be starved out of Canada and go back to the States. Walsh would resign over it, and Sitting Bull would be murdered.
Well, I don't know where the voice actor at the end came in and who they're actually meant to be representing here, but that just took a complete turn for the worse. It was just seemed to be actually going alright, some sort of amicable just resolution, but then all of a sudden you go, no, things definitely didn't turn out, I guess how everyone would certainly hope for them to turn out. I mean, I can only assume that it's one of the two guys that he mentioned. Was it Walsh and McLeod? McLeod, okay then. So one of those two guys is probably the narrator, but I don't know which one. It's not obviously stated as far as I'm aware. Actually, does it say down here, confident that the Northwest Mounted Police will respect him and his people? The great chief chooses to remain in the Western Canada rather than return to the United States, I guess, for a moment. And for it to be said in the start here, it was Saskatchewan-Montana border, 1877. I wonder how long it was until they were just driven through, I think, hunger, just back down into the USA. And there is still so much to unpack within the entire Heritage Minute, just even the fact that he said he was murdered in the end. Like, who organized that? Who did it? And why in the first place? I don't understand. Because it seemed as though he was trying to end the conflict and so everyone would stop fighting. Even at the start he's going, oh, how many people are behind the ridge? And he really doesn't believe him, just going, no, we don't have the people.
Got more men back there than I have in the whole of Western Canada.
Yeah, exactly. You have more men back there than I have all in Western Canada. And I guess if at the time, yeah, that would have been true. Just as the British have come over from, I guess, landing in the East Coast, the West Coast would have been completely barren from a white perspective. And so trying to piece things together, maybe the guy on the left is somehow feeling threatened and so he brought a whole bundle of men up to start a war, because I think they said something about a war dance?
Yeah, but Sitting Bull held a war dance last night.
Yeah, exactly that. Maybe even though I'm sure he had no intentions of coming peacefully in the first place, considering how many men he brought, either way, I'm sure the war dance would just kind of sealed his fate and just confirmed everything he believed in his head already. And even just the way that he just comes in here and starts barking orders, but no, Sitting Bull just went, I run this place, you be quiet, sit back down in your corner where you belong, and just the two fingers of silence. So I guess like usual, and that's exactly what they're designed for, it's meant to just give you enough information to just pique your curiosity, but not tell you the entire story. I mean, being limited to a minute, they can't exactly tell the entire story, but it just makes you go, what? I've never heard about this thing, but I just need to do more research. I mean, say what you will about Wikipedia, but it can be a great just medium point or jump rock to just start learning more information. So I just wanted to know, he was killed by an Indian agency police. What? Indian agency police were policemen hired by United States Indian agents during the late 19th and early 20th centuries and assigned to a Native American tribe. It was the duty of the Indian agency police to enforce federal laws. That makes sense as to why there's going to be conflict, but it still doesn't answer my question about why was he murdered? What did he do wrong? Or did he honestly do nothing wrong and they just had enough of him just not listening to them? Or maybe it wasn't even that, he just provided some sort of resistance towards them and so they just had to get rid of him in a brutal way. But anyway, now moving on to our second one, we have a very French word, but Louis something.
Our telephone, teletype, and national television. From one end of the country to the other like that.
Wow.
4,000 miles of microwave links instead of thousands of tons of copper wire.
Yes, but $50 million, Mr. Eady.
Oh
my.
They also laughed at my experimental TV 20 years ago. Maybe they were right. But a single system for television and for telephones, that's the future. We're with you, Tom.
I don't have the people. You hire students, train them.
$20 million more, Tom. Maybe 10?
Here.
You need a cable car to get all that up there.
Cable car. That's great. We'll build a cable car.
In just 3 years, Tom Eady would complete the longest microwave network in the world.
Hello, this is Montreal. How may I help you? One moment, sir. We'll transfer you to Vancouver.
How do you ever go about completing something like that in 3 years? The fact that they even built a cable car in 3 years is just astounding to me, given the sort of terrain and weather that you have to deal with. But the fact that he made an entire national network in 3 years, how? I mean, I guess he was certainly splashing some cash considering it cost 50 million and then another 20 perhaps, but I guess it would have paid off by now, surely. And honestly, I'm sure it just seems like a little blip in the ocean in comparison to what the kind of investment has to be put in these days with 5G and even 4G just to be able to provide all that coverage on a national scale. It's ridiculous, because at least when you use these high wattage antennas and just put them on top of a mountain, they can just see forever, but 5G and 4G towers just don't work in the same kind of distance. And it is always incredible how good TV can look, and yes, there's a lot of compression going on, but just to be able to deliver it to the masses like they do, it's honestly outstanding how good it really looks. So I'm wondering now, was he the first person in the world to come up with the concept, or did he just build the longest one? Because that is two very, very different things. To come up with the concept in the first place and then also implement it in 3 years is ridiculous. I can only assume there would have been some sort of short-range version, at least in development, if not already implemented around the world somewhere, but to just make it a national system, that's incredible. And even the fact that it just saved them thousands of tons of copper, I wonder if that still exists. I mean, yeah, it's not going to have the best ends and terminals anymore, but I wonder if they ripped it up to even pay for this entire thing. And I mean, scrolling down, does it say anything? Bell Canada's Thomas Eady leads the construction of a Trans-Canada microwave network to carry television broadcasts and telephone calls across the country in 1953. That is a hell of a sentence. Even just the Trans-Canada microwave network is a mouthful, let alone actually building the thing. And even just like I was saying, the fact that they got it built in 3 years is incredible, because you got to go do all the surveying, understand how all of the interference is going to be, if you've got lots of mountains across the entire country, especially with the Rockies there. So all of the planning before you even get remotely close to booting and optimization after the fact is just insane. I don't know how he ever would have done it in 3 years. I mean, I guess like you said, I don't have the people. Well, go get some more students and things. And so I think after everything said in this Heritage Minute, my main question is, what does the title mean, or what is it in relation to? Because I can't translate it, and nowhere throughout this entire Heritage Minute was there any French, and so I guess maybe they're just getting around the Trans-Canada microwave network and that's what that means, but other than that, no idea. Let me know, please. Anyway, now moving on to our third one, we have Vimy Ridge.
So we also laid out a full-size model of the ridge for the men to practice on. They know where every German strongpoint is, every machine gun, every bunker.
What?
General Hurry, you do know the French have tried for the last year to take Vimy Ridge, yes? And that we also...
I know, sir.
What exactly makes you,
Our guns will begin at dawn.
My dear wife, this may be my last letter to you. We go into action in 20 minutes. It's the biggest thing I've ever been in.
At precisely 0500, the men will move out of the tunnels, keeping precisely 300 yards behind the creeping barrage.
Dear Mother, as I looked to right and left, all I could see was Canadians.
By 5 o'clock, Vimy Ridge was ours.
And Mother, I thought, we are a nation. This is us.
It was the first significant victory of the war.
Well, I don't know if I'm getting my events mixed up. I mean, I've certainly heard of Vimy Ridge before, but I definitely did not know the history like they said in this Heritage Minute here, because the amount of planning that went into this one, I guess, tactical maneuver, if you want to call it that, is just insane. They built a replica of the, I guess, the war zone just to train on, for goodness sake. I mean, it was clearly and obviously not without loss, but it's honestly an incredible story that they were even managed to do it. Like you said, you do know that we've tried this before, and at multiple times actually, and it hasn't gone our way, any of them. But he is clearly confident within his entire plan, because he doesn't snap back, but he's very assertive when he says
And
this.
that we also... I know, sir.
I know, sir. Just let me handle this situation, please. It should be ours. I'm hoping it should be ours by, I guess, a time, and I guess that time ended up being 5. And taking a step back from the content for a second, I was also taken aback by the fact that they just left the entire thing in black and white and shrunk down. I don't know if there was some original footage mixed into there, or if they just wanted to really give it their kind of era and time feel. I mean, even then, I don't feel as though it's particularly accurate, because I don't think TV was invented prior to World War I, but I guess maybe maybe they're just going for an older feel just to try and really cement the time period and just not be perfectly accurate for once in a Heritage Minute. Actually, I guess they would have had film and projection, just not TVs, and so I don't know, there's too many things flying around. Maybe it is perfectly accurate, I guess it probably is. So in that case, I wonder where in here have they cropped it down from a 4:3 aspect ratio original footage. I can only imagine mixing in here. This looks pretty original, whether it be a photo or just a general video. Just look at this, all of these guys just charging over this thing. I guess they trained a little bit, but nothing can prepare you for the real thing in this regard. I can only imagine they weren't firing artillery over their heads when they were training in the little facility that they had set up, let alone the enemy firing back at them. It certainly isn't going to be a thing. And so really, you can train and know the layout, but you're not really training for the real deal. Either way, I guess I can't skip over the fact that this is obviously Canadian focus, and so they said they look left, they look right, and they just saw their countrymen, their brothers, working together, just shoulder to shoulder, literally giving your blood and your life and your sweat and your tears and everything else in between just to accomplish one goal. And I guess not everyone made it out, but it was clearly overall they won the Battle of Vimy Ridge. And yes, some of it can be chalked up to good management and good training in that regard, or just even some training at all, but otherwise it is just pure grit and determination and just love for one another that is just getting them through this absolutely dire situation. But now moving on to our fourth one, we have Governor Frontenac.
Move along, all of you! Make way for the envoy!
October 18th, an envoy comes ashore with an ultimatum of surrender for Governor Frontenac.
It's been a long time since I've seen the enemy this close. Tell me, Caporal. Lieutenant. Ah oui, Lieutenant. About your Colonel Schnips. General Phipps. Ah, Phipps, oui. Is he still such an idiot? Oh God, monsieur! Does he really think he can conquer Quebec with only 2 or 3 ships? Monsieur, we have 34 ships and a full regiment from Boston. Frontenac has 1 hour to surrender. You terrify me, Caporal.
Wait! Enough!
Arrêtez!
Well, Governor Frontenac, your reply, sir.
I will reply from the mouth of my cannon.
The Americans pressed the attack, but Frontenac beat them off. Phipps weighed anchor and never returned.
Well, really, this was just straight out of a movie. Honestly, I would be surprised if it didn't just come straight off the cutting room floor and just go, oh yeah, here you go, Heritage Minutes. You can have what we didn't use for the new Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. Look at like what happened. All of a sudden, they just broke out into a fight. He's climbing up on stuff, and I don't know, there's just so much happened. And even for me at the end to just go, I will reply with the mouth of my cannon. Like that is just such a movie line. I've never heard anything like it. And the fact that it was Quebec City 1690, I often forget just how far back. I would more think the 1800s. But no, it's the 1600s things even extend into. And even just the fact that the Americans walked in so confident, you know, oh, you have 1 hour to respond to us, otherwise you're going to meet our full wrath. And the other guy just whips out his sword and then beats him. And then the governor comes out and just goes, no, we're not just dealing with these guys. Get them on their ship and just get them out of here. And so venturing back out to online, I just had to click the first link, which of course is going to be a Wikipedia, was a French soldier, courtier, and governor general of New France in North America from 1672 to 1682 for 10 years. Oh, and then again, oh, in his death. Why did he die? Did he get murdered like Sitting Bull? His second term was characterized by the defense of Quebec from an English invasion during King William's War. He died before his second recall of France. Okay then, I don't know why still, but either way, let's just go folklore. What does it say? Frontenac's coat of arms marks the entrance to a chateau, part of which lies to the site of his former home. Some claim to have spotted him dressed in 17th century garb, wandering the halls or floating through the ballroom. Okay then, I don't know if I wanted to know that folklore anymore. Either way, looking at the illustration, his face definitely rings a bell. And then if we come back to the real Heritage Minute, he looks a little bit different, but I feel as though overall I can definitely recognize him as just an incredible military leader to some regard, or just not caring for the Americans and I guess the English as well, we learned. And so now that I have looked him up on Wikipedia, my main question is, who is this guy in the context of the entire war or battle, or even just why is he sparring the American? Was he some kind of right-hand man to Frontenac? I mean, he did call him the lieutenant, but I just don't know enough to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Either way, I just think the Heritage Minutes have completely outdone themselves here. You can see how big the set is, how many extras have been involved. There's a fight scene, for goodness sake. There is so much going on here, as well as just conveying the history part of it. It's honestly incredible. And like I always say, it's incredible how much they can just convey and how much they get across in 1 minute. You guys often fill in the gaps or just kind of clear things up for me, but in 1 minute they do so well, especially when they chuck in a fight scene for half of it. I mean, maybe it's because Governor Frontenac seems so efficient in just driving the Americans off with the mouth of his cannon, but either way, there's plenty of gap still to fill. But anyway, in saying that, I reckon I'm going to call it there. So thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to do the YouTube algorithm things down below. Also, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, then make sure to go check out any other ones I've done. Also, make sure to go check out the original videos down in the description below. Or hey, maybe even just want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.